Good afternoon, friends. I'm Dr. Ajay Shah, bringing this another weekend live. Today's topic actually is very important topic, and today's topic is actually very dear to my heart, and that topic is about depression. Uh, Today we're going to talk about how to prevent depression, how to prevent the relapse of depression, how to fight depression, how to be well during depression episodes, and we will be covering a lot of different topics for our next hour, hour and a half. Um, Please share this page. Please share this live on your page if you feel any from your friends will benefit from this talk on depression. This video will be on YouTube, so you can watch it on YouTube tomorrow also. We will be talking a lot of different methods and techniques about how to prevent depression and how to prevent the relapse of depression. Let's start with my own story. 10 years ago, I suffered a major depression. It was brought on pretty much by my own faults. I was not exercising. I was not eating healthy. I did not sleep well. I was busy practicing cardiology. I was working 70, 80, almost 90 hours per week, taking a lot of calls. And I actually ignored my own health. And I either burned out or fell through a major depression. The depression was so severe that I had to sell my practice, and I actually took 1 year sabbatical to recover from the depression. So I learned my lesson. Now I take care of myself, and I will show you how you can take care of yourself. Depression is a major life-threatening condition, so we should always prevent it. When we look at America, 25% of Americans suffer from depression. 25% of Americans. So it's probably as common as heart disease or many other chronic disease. It's more common than even diabetes. And if you look at after age 10, there is a 50% chance of developing depression over lifetime. That means if a kid is 10-year-old, he or she has a 50% chance of developing depression in his or her lifetime. Depression is a lifelong illness. It's just like a chronic disease, like having high blood pressure, diabetes, or many other chronic disease. Actually, you can reverse the high blood pressure, you can reverse the diabetes. Just that way, you can actually prevent the depression happening again after the first episode. The key thing is to prevent the first episode of depression if you can. And I'm going to show you all the techniques and methods how you can prevent the first episode of depression. The reason I stress to prevent first episode of depression is because once one episode of depression happens, it's very common to develop second episode. Once the second episode happens, the third episode is even more common, and the duration between second and third episode is actually shorter, and the severity of depression is higher. So again, between first and second episode of depression, the duration is shorter and even shorter for the subsequent episodes. So we have to prevent first episode, and definitely we have to prevent subsequent episodes. When you prevent subsequent episodes, then you actually prevent the severity of future episodes of the depression. So what causes depression? Family history is very important. People who have family history of depression, they should watch out. They should do everything what I'm going to show you to prevent the first episode and definitely prevent the relapse. Any kind of traumatic life event like going through divorce, uh, losing a job, developing a major physical illness like cancer, losing a loved one in a death, having a car accident, or any other major traumatic life event can cause an episode of depression. Like I said, once one episode of depression happens, more episodes can happen. Childbirth is another major reason for depression in women. So again, postpartum depression is very common. Childhood neglect is also a very common cause for depression. Obsessive compulsive disorder is also very common reason for depression. Isolation and loneliness is also one common cause for depression, and we will talk about that. Substance abuse and alcohol use is also a very common cause for depression. And obviously, many physical illness can cause depression, With physical illness, many times it's a chicken and the egg, whether illness came first or the depression came first. For example, people who have diabetes, they have very high chance of developing depression, and people who have depression have very high chance of developing diabetes. So again, physical illness can cause also depression. When we talk about today's seminar, please stay under your doctor's supervision, whether it's your primary care physician or whether it's your psychiatrist or whether it's your psychologist or your counselor. Make sure you listen to this seminar and employ some of the techniques, but you also are under supervision of a professional. Many times, medication will be necessary to prevent the relapse, prevent the second episode, but at the same time, medication can be discontinued if you recover from depression and if you follow some of my technique. Obviously, do under your physician supervision. Even people who are on medication, they have 50% chance of relapse. So it's very important that we use actually all the techniques I'm going to show you to prevent the relapse of depression. After each episode, the duration gets shorter and shorter and more severe and more severe. So preventing every relapse is very important. Medications have side effects. So obviously, less number of medications you are on for depression is very important. And also, if you can get off the medication, it's very important. I am actually on a very low dose of medicine right now. I do a lot of the preventative technique to prevent depression. My last episode of depression was 10 years ago. And actually, I go through periodic moods where I feel down, but I come out of it. And I always protect myself to make sure I don't fall into a severe depression. We'll talk about that. So, again, in between relapse, you actually feel good. Fortunately, most depressions you recover either with medications or with just time passing or with just other techniques. So, in between depression, you actually feel good. That's where actually I want you to employ some of the techniques I'm going to show you to prevent the next episode of depression. Again, let me repeat. In between depression episodes, you will feel very good, you will feel fair, you will feel reasonable. That's when I want you to do everything I'm going to show you to prevent the next episode of depression. So, in between depression episodes, when you're feeling good, invest your time, your energy, your resources into preventing the next episode. All the techniques I'm going to show you, try to do as many techniques as you can. Obviously, I don't do every technique every day, but I try to follow most things what I'm going to show you. So actually, more things you do for the things I'm going to show you, less chance of having the next episode of depression. It may take sometimes days and weeks to come out of depression, but if you start doing what I ask you, you will start feeling better in few days. Again, key thing is to prevent the relapse. Key thing is to prevent the relapse. These methods I'm going to show you are very easy. Obviously, when you are during the depression episode, they will be feeling hard. But in between depression episodes, these things are easy. They're very simple. They are actually at almost no cost to you. They're very highly effective and they're very evidence based. So again, methods I'm going to show you to prevent the depression and prevent the relapse of depression are very simple, very effective, very proven, very science-based, very evidence-based. So listen to everything what I'm going to show you over next hour, hour and a half. Actually, as you listen to this thing, listen to it again and again, second, 2 or 3 times, take notes, write down all the methods what I'm going to show you and start using those methods as many as you can on a daily basis. And look at the list, what I'm going to show you at least once a day, particularly if you suffer from moderate or severe depression. Obviously, let me give you a very, very important message right now. If you have depression or if you ever have any suicidal thought, please seek immediate help. If necessary, call 911. You should always have a suicide hotline on your phone if you suffer from depression. And if you ever have suicidal thought, please be careful and seek the medical attention ASAP right away. Call 911 if necessary, call the suicide hotline if necessary. Let me tell you very important thing, which I did not believe until now. Very important thing is that you should know and believe and truly feel that depression is never your fault. Depression happens for a variety of reasons, but I went through it, but it's never a personal fault. Obviously, if you don't follow certain lifestyle, you have a higher chance of developing depression, but depression is never a person's fault. So remember that that's a very important statement. If you suffer from depression, it's nothing different than suffering from high blood pressure, suffering from diabetes, suffering from many other illnesses. So never have depression as a taboo or as a condition that it was your fault. Depression in the society has been considered very taboo. Depression has been considered looked down many times. Many times people tell that if you have depression, go take a vacation. If you have depression, go take a break. If you have depression, just take rest. All those things many times are good advice, but many times they don't work. Depression requires specific therapy, just like high blood pressure, diabetes requires specific therapy. So again, if a person suffers from depression, that person may need medication, may need counseling, may need some other techniques I'm going to show you. But depression is just like any other chronic disease, depression is a chronic disease. Like I said, depression is a lifelong disease. Once you have depression, you have to make sure the second episode, third episode does not happen. A lot of people suffer multiple episodes of depression on a yearly basis, and many times have 25, 30 episodes of depression over the lifetime. I'm going to show you everything possible, what I can from my knowledge, from my own personal experience having suffered major depression 10 years ago. I'm going to show everything what I do every day to prevent my second, my third episode of depression. Like I said, I go through down phases at times, even last week, last month, last year, but I do everything in my power to prevent the major depression what I suffered 10 years ago. So let's go through, let's start what we can work together, what we can do together to prevent the depression and definitely prevent the relapse of depression and prevent the many episodes of depression. Again, if you're watching, if you think your loved one, your family members, your friends will benefit from this seminar, please share on your page so more people will benefit. This will be on YouTube, so you can watch it tomorrow, day after tomorrow. You can watch it again and again, take notes again. And as you take notes, refer to the notes again and again. Again, key thing is to prevent the depression and prevent the relapse of depression, prevent the second, third, and subsequent episodes of depression. Because as depression becomes frequent, the episodes get shorter and shorter duration. You get it more often and they get more severe. And one day you may get into suicidal thought. So again, key thing is to prevent the depression and prevent the relapse. Let's start those methods. First is exercise. Let me tell you, exercise is one of the most important way to prevent depression and prevent the relapse of depression. Exercise actually is proven to be as good as a medication. There was a study done where exercise, just 30 minutes, three times a week, a brisk exercise like running or jogging was compared with antidepressant medication Zoloft. And both of them did actually exactly same. So it was as good as medicine. Actually, on the long term, exercise actually did better than Zola in terms of preventing the relapse of depression. So again, exercise is the key thing if you want to prevent depression. When you exercise, you must raise your heart rate to 75, 85% of maximum heart rate. You almost have to have a little sweat happening. You almost have to be able to not talk when you are jogging, when you're running, when you are biking, when you're swimming. So exercise, you have to do enough to raise your heart rate. Walking is better than sitting, but the key thing is to sweat. Key thing is to raise your heart rate. I also advise everybody to move every hour. I also advise everybody to track the exercise you do so you know that you are on a regular base. To give you my own personal example, I try to jog, try to run at least few times a week, and every day I walk 8 to 11 miles per day. Let me repeat, I walk every day about 10 miles per day. And I try to jog or run few times a week, and I definitely stay physically active. So exercise is very important. It has helped me to prevent my second episode of depression. Like I said, 10 years ago, I suffered a major depression. It was almost life-threatening depression, and by all means, I want to prevent what I went through 10 years ago. And I want all of you who suffer from depression to prevent the second, third, and subsequent episodes. The next important thing is the sleep. Sleep is one of the most important things when it comes down to preventing depression and preventing subsequent episodes. You should sleep minimum 7 hours, preferably 8 hours, and actually 8 to 9 hours in bed and 8 hours of sleep. You should be tracking your sleep to make sure you're getting enough REM sleep, enough deep sleep, and enough light sleep. Also, I want you to go to sleep as early as possible, preferably 9 or 9:30 in the evening. Sleeping before midnight is much more beneficial than sleeping after midnight. That means if you sleep 9 to 6 every day, 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. is better than 12 p.m. or midnight to 9 a.m. Even though they both are 9 hours, but sleeping before midnight is a lot more beneficial. I have a separate video on how to improve sleep on YouTube. Please watch that video so you can get a better sleep. Let me also tell you an important point. Poor sleep can be a trigger. Poor sleep can be a trigger for the depression episodes in the future. So if you have suffered from depression, few nights of poor sleep can put you into a relapse of depression. So make sure you have adequate sleep. Next thing is creating a routine. When a person is going through depression, it's very hard to follow a routine. But at the same time, if you have made a habit of routine, when you are feeling good in between the episodes of depression, you will follow through on those routine. Actually, I want you to write down those routine on your phone or on a piece of paper and have it available all the time so you can keep an eye on it and you can follow the routine. So I want you to have a morning routine and I want you to have evening routine. Morning routine can be easily 20 minutes of meditation, 20 minutes of exercise, and 20 minutes of planning your day, eating a healthy breakfast, drinking lemon water, whatever morning routine you want to make a morning routine. Same way, make an evening routine. In the evening, you should be meditating again. We'll talk about that. You should be doing some breathing exercise, having a social time with spouse, with family, with friends. Uh, Journaling, we will talk about journaling. Also, reflecting your day also is very important. So again, having a morning routine and evening routine is very important to prevent the depression and prevent the relapse of depression. Obviously, like I said, when a person is suffering, is going through depression episode, it's very hard to follow the routine. But if you have made a habit of morning and evening routine, those things will be easy even during the phase of depression to follow through. Next important thing is stopping alcohol ASAP. People who suffer from depression should not be drinking alcohol. Alcohol many times is considered a self-medicating drug. People who drink alcohol have very high chance of depression relapse. People who have depression, if they drink alcohol, there's very high chance of relapse of depression. Matter of fact, there was a study done where people who stopped alcohol completely, their relapse were cut by 50%. So you cut down your relapse of depression by 50% if you stop drinking alcohol. So cut down the alcohol, stop the alcohol completely if you can. I personally have gone through episodes that whenever I had a few drinks, next day or two, I felt down. I felt like I might slip into a major depression. And now I've learned my lessons and I try to stay away from the alcohol. So I seriously advise all of you that if you suffer from depression, please stop alcohol completely if you can. Definitely not have more than one or two drinks at a time, no more than once or twice a month, or no, definitely no more than once a week. So again, stop the alcohol. That would be the best thing you can do if you suffer from depression. Next thing is very important, and that's meditation. Meditation has been proven to prevent depression, prevent the relapse of depression. If you have suffered major depression, if you have suffered any depression, incorporating meditation in your daily life is very important. I learned that myself lesson that whenever I meditated, I felt great for the day. My sleep has improved. I religiously meditate every day. Even no matter how busy I am, I meditate 30 to 60 minutes every day. And I do meditation with a pen and paper. I just close my eyes, I sit in a quiet place, and I start observing my thought and observing my breath as much as possible. If I have some crazy thought, if I cannot let go that thought, I quickly write down that thought on a paper with pencil, and that thought typically goes away because I already have put it on the paper. So learn any technique. I'll show you some other techniques of meditation, including loving kindness meditation. But learn meditation and start practicing meditation as soon as you can, starting hopefully today, hopefully tomorrow. If you suffer from depression, meditation is must. 1 hour is good, but any duration is good. You can even start with 5 minutes of meditation or 10 minutes of meditation. Very important that you actually do meditation every day. Next thing is very important, which is not practiced that often, is the breathing exercise. One of them is we call it actually pranayam in our language, pranayam, but those are breathing exercise. And try to do breathing exercise 15 to 30 minutes every day. I have a separate video on breathing exercise on YouTube. Please reach out to our channel and watch the video on breathing exercise. There are three exercises I recommend. One of them is Kapalbhati, one of them is Anulom Vilam, and one of them is called Brahmari. I have a separate video on all three exercises showing the technique. Please reach out to that video on YouTube and watch that video. I'll show you one day, another day. But again, reach out for my video and watch those three exercises and start practicing those breathing exercise if you suffer from depression. There are other type of breathing exercise you can do also, but those three breathing exercise are most proven. They are thousands of years old, 3,000 to 4,000 years old, and have the most benefit and has most evidence and most data and most proof that they help. Next thing is having adequate amount of omega-3. People who suffer from depression should have adequate omega-3. That means eating walnuts, taking fish oil, taking flax seeds, taking chia seeds, or any other type of seeds. All those things will give you adequate omega-3. Omega-6, which is more of a pro-inflammatory, which causes the depression, should be minimized as much as possible. That means having no oil or no vegetable oil, or avoiding any processed food which has oil to lower the omega-6. The omega-6 to omega-3 ratio should be less than 3 to 1. Again, omega-6 to omega-3 ratio should be less than 3 to 1. You can actually check your ratio by doing a lab measurement. I check my ratio. My ratio is 3 to 1. I take adequate omega-3 every day. I take omega-3 very seriously because I suffer from major depression, and I take omega-3 every day. Typically, I take flax seeds. That's how I get my omega-3. I also periodically take fish oils. I should take fish oil every day, but you can take flax seeds if you are vegan. Also, having walnuts will also give you enough omega-3. We also don't use any oil in our diet, so our omega-6 is very low. So my omega-6 to omega-3 ratio is very adequate, is very healthy. So again, omega-3 is very, very important. Next thing is vitamin D. Very important that you have adequate vitamin D level if you suffer from depression. People who have low vitamin D level, they have very high chance of developing depression, and they actually will have high chance of relapse of depression. Try to keep vitamin D level between 40 and 70. If you live in a sunny area, maybe you will be getting enough sunlight and you may have enough vitamin D plus, but please check the level. I also ask you to take vitamin D supplement if you're not getting enough sunlight. I take vitamin D supplement every day. My vitamin D level typically is between 40 and 70. My last vitamin D level was 45. So again, keeping vitamin D level high is very important also. Next thing important is exposure to sunlight. You should expose yourself minimum 15 to 30 minutes of sunlight every day. Sunlight prevents seasonal affective disorder. It prevents depression. It prevents a relapse of depression. And you should be exposing yourself to sunlight every day. People who live in a sunny area like Florida, California, they are lucky. They should be exposing themselves to sunlight every day. Early morning hours before 10 a.m., 30 minutes. Obviously, wear a sunscreen when you go out in sunlight so you don't have a high chance of developing cancer. If you live in an area where there is not adequate sunlight, like Michigan during the winter months, you can actually buy 10,000 lux light and expose yourself to 30 to 60 minutes of this 10,000 lux light every day. I have 10,000 lux light at our house for last 15 years, and during the winter months, I expose myself every morning to this 10,000 lux light. 10,000 lux light. You can buy those 10,000 lux light on Amazon, very, very cost effective way. Next thing is very important is journaling every day. It's very important if you suffer from depression that you write down your day every evening, how your day went, how your stress level was, what things worked, what things did not work, what relationship worked, what hardships you had, what pleasure you had, what fun you had. Because when you start journaling, you actually start reflecting on a day, and the next day you start doing the things which actually was better for you for the previous day. So journaling is almost like a self-teaching tool. So I journal every day. I journal on my phone every day. I write down every day on my phone how my day went, what my goals are, what can I do tomorrow to be better, what can I do tomorrow to prevent depression, whether I felt down or not, whether I felt stressed or not, why did I feel stressed, what can I do to prevent the stress in the future. So journaling every day is very, very important. Next important thing is a gratitude journal. We all are lucky. Every human being is lucky. When you wake up in the morning, you are a lucky person. There are millions of people will not wake up next morning when they go to sleep in the world. So again, if you wake up in the morning, you should consider yourself lucky. We all have good things happening in our life. So having gratitude for all the God-given good things, we should write a journal every day. Every morning when I wake up, I have my gratitudes. Let me tell you what my gratitudes are. I feel I'm lucky that I live in America, one of the most advanced, most rich, most developed country. I live in a democracy. I live in Midwest. I live in a nice suburb. I drive a nice car. I live in a nice house. I have a good job. I have a good spouse. I have good kids. I have living parents. I have great brother and brother-in-laws and sister-in-laws. I have just great thing going. I have a good health. I have like a lot of good things. We have good savings, so financially we are stable. So I try to have my gratitude every morning. Matter of fact, for last few years, before even I put my foot on the floor from the bed, I quickly count my gratitudes. I Before I go to sleep at night, I count my gratitudes. It's very important that you have your gratitude journal every day. Write your gratitudes down, recite your gratitudes, add more good things as they happen, and thank God, thank your spouse, thank your friends, thank your family, thank your coworkers for all the good life you have. Again, gratitude is very, very important. People who write gratitude journal, they're very low chance of developing depression, they're very low chance of developing relapse of depression. So gratitude journal is very important. Again, if you're watching, please share on your page. If you think your loved one, your family, friends will benefit from this seminar. This seminar is on how to prevent depression and how to prevent relapse of depression. This will be on YouTube, so you can watch it tomorrow. Again, we are talking how to prevent the relapse of depression. But do this thing under the doctor's supervision, under your counselor supervision, and make sure you are watching yourself if you have any suicidal thoughts. Next important thing is eating healthy food. I highly recommend eating whole food, plant-based, no oil diet. Again, eating a lot of vegetables, a lot of fruits, a lot of beans, cooked beans, obviously, and a lot of intact grains like barley, quinoa, brown rice, and avoiding gluten if you can as much as possible. Definitely having intact grains. So again, lots of vegetables, lots of fruits, lots of cooked beans, and lots of intact grains. People who eat whole food plant-based, they're very less chance of depression, very less chance of relapse of depression. It's proven that people who eat processed food, they're very high chance of depression. Matter of fact, there is a book called Fast Food Genocide by Dr. Joe Furman, and he clearly says in that book the reason America suffers from 25 to 40% of depression is because of eating 65% processed food in our diet. Again, people who eat a lot of processed food, the very high chance of developing depression. So prevent eating as much processed food as possible. Also, try to be vegan, whole food, plant-based, but if you like having animal products, Try to restrict animal products no more than 10% of your calories. It's been proven that if you want to live long, if you want to live healthy, limit your animal products. That means limiting red meat, limiting white meat, limiting dairy, limiting fish. No more than 10% calorie should come from animal products. Obviously, definitely avoid processed meat. Processed meat is not only bad for your depression, but also bad that it causes a cancer. I have a separate video on how to eat healthy. Please watch that video on YouTube. But again, eating whole food, plant-based diet is very, very important. Let's go through the next few important topics when comes down to preventing depression and preventing relapse of depression. Having a great relation with your spouse or with your partner is very important. People who are single, they have very high chance of developing depression. People have very high chance of developing relapse. So if you are married, if you have a partner, uh, or if you live with somebody, or if you live with a friend, make sure you have a great relation with that person. Having a happy marriage prevents many depression and prevents relapse. Also, always involve with your family. That means involve with your kids, involve with your brother, sister, your in-laws, your parents-in-law. People who have a good family values are actually the people who prevent depression and who actually prevent the relapse of depression. Also, having great friends is very important to prevent depression and prevent the relapse of depression. Have friends who are positive, who match your value, friends who believe in healthy lifestyle, friends who believe in exercise, friends who believe in eating healthy, friends who believe in having all the six pillars of healthy lifestyle. I don't want you to have friends who are party only friends, who drink, who sleep late, who watch hours and hours of TV, and friends who are not good values who match your values. So again, have friends who actually enhance your healthy lifestyle, and just eliminate the friends who are not promoting healthy lifestyle, because it's the top five friends you have, that's how you're going to live. So again, if you want to prevent depression, have the friends who are actually like your minded, like healthy friends who believe in six healthy pillars of lifestyle. Next important thing is having some kind of spiritual or religious belief. So I want you to pray every day if you believe in any religion, whether you are Hindu, Christian, Jew, or Muslim, or Buddhist, any religion you believe in, but try to pray every day. Even if you do 10 minutes of prayer, that has shown to cut down the relapse of depression. So pray every day, at least 10 minutes, longer if you can, but minimum 10 minutes of praying every day. And if you are non-religious, find a prayer which is non-religious prayer and pray or read that prayer every day. You can take higher cause or nature or some supreme well-being as your God and just start praying on that God. Actually, you don't have to be religious to pray. Next thing is important, which is chanting. I've seen many examples, many studies, the people who chant have a very low chance of depression, very low chance of relapsing the depression. So if you can chant 10 minutes and you can chant any kind of mantra, any kind of prayer, any just chanting means saying out loud. Like for example, for me, I'm a Hindu, and saying for me, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, that's like a praying to Lord Krishna. That chant definitely always helps me. You can actually have a rosary where you can forward the beads and you can finish your chant. Our beads have 108 beads in our rosary, and we try to do that chant at least once or twice a day. Again, chanting is very important. Any kind of religious chant is very important to prevent depression. Next thing is very important regarding the health. People who are obese, people who are overweight, they're very high chance of developing depression. So try to maintain your body weight, BMI below 25, and BMI below 22 will be ideal. So again, try to have a BMI below 25, and that will prevent depression, that will prevent relapse of depression. If you are overweight or if you are obese, Start eating healthy, start eating low calorie food, start eating whole food, plant based food, and start bringing your body mass index below 25, preferably below 22, and you will have a less chance of depression, less chance of relapse of depression. Also, preventing chronic inflammation. People who have chronic inflammation, particularly chronic inflammation in the brain and chronic inflammation in the body, they have very high chance of developing depression and developing chance of many chronic disease. So prevent chronic inflammation. I have a separate video on how to prevent chronic inflammation. Please watch that video. You can also check CRP level. CRP level is the one which tells you whether a person has a chronic inflammation or not. And actually, you can know whether you have chronic inflammation. To make sure that chronic inflammation doesn't happen, try to follow healthy lifestyle as much as possible. Next important thing is a technique which I observe every day. Matter of fact, I do it every day religiously, and that's observing your breath. Observing your breath is very important. Whenever I have free moment between patients, whenever I have free moment at home, whenever I have free moment in the evening, I always sit down and observe my breath. You can close your eyes or you can even keep your eyes open, but let the air pass through your nostril and just observe your breath and just try to focus on your breath as you take a slow deep breath. That puts you into instant relaxation that is uh, proven to cause less stress, and actually it prevents the relapse of depression. It prevents the depression itself. So again, observing breath is very, very important. Next thing is again coming down to the diet. People who eat a lot of sugar, they're very high chance of depression, high chance of relapsing the depression. So cut down the sugar as much as possible in your diet. I've seen a lot of people, a lot of patients, including myself, after a very unhealthy sugary meal, next day I've not felt good. So if you want to prevent depression, prevent the relapse, cut down on the sugar as much as possible. Next thing is a caffeine. Try not to have more than one coffee in the morning. We all like our coffee, and you can have one coffee in the morning, but try to avoid any coffee or any caffeine in the afternoon because that can disturb your sleep. And like I said, poor sleep is one of the major trigger for having relapse of depression or developing depression. So definitely no more than one coffee in the morning. Ideally, you should be zero coffee if possible. I actually now take decaf coffee. I do get coffee once in a while, but I definitely never have coffee after 2 p.m. Again, if you're watching, please share on your page. See if your loved one will benefit from this seminar. This seminar is on how to prevent depression and how to prevent the relapse of depression. Again, preventing relapse is very, very important. Next thing is also another diet advice that I highly advise all of you to avoid gluten as much as possible. Obviously, people who have celiac disease, people who have gluten sensitivity should totally stay away from the gluten, but just try to cut down on the gluten or try to avoid gluten completely and see if it helps your mood. I try to avoid gluten as much as possible. Next, very important thing, which again is one of the cornerstone, one of the very, very strong pillar of preventing the relapse of depression is having a good therapist, a good psychologist, a good counselor is very, very important. If you suffer from depression, make sure that you take seriously to get counseling and to see a psychologist and see a therapist. Cognitive behavioral therapy is very, very important, and cognitive behavioral therapy has shown to be as equal to taking medication in terms of preventing relapse of depression. So definitely have a good psychologist, somebody who matches your value, somebody who understands you well, somebody who respects you, and having a counselor is very important. I'm starting my counseling in 2 weeks. I'm going to have a regular counseling session now on because I realized that to prevent the future episodes of depression, counseling is very important. Obviously, counseling costs money, but let me tell you one thing, depression is also a very expensive disease. People who have depression lose their job, lose their relationships, lose their house, lose their money, and lose their car. So depression is a very expensive disease. So having a low cost counseling is very important. And now you can actually have online counseling on Zoom account, and you can actually do counseling from your home. A lot of counselors are very cost effective. Some of the counselors are only about 30 or 40 or $50 an hour, and doing once a week is a very, very appropriate thing. So I highly recommend to have a counselor, to have therapist, and receive cognitive behavior therapy. Very, very important. Also, having a good psychiatrist is also very important. Psychiatrist who knows good things about pharmacology, good thing about medications, who understands your disease, who understands your lifestyle, who can actually support you, who can actually guide you, and having a good psychiatrist is very important. Again, psychiatrists are very, very hard to find at times, but once you find a good psychiatrist, stay with that physician. Unfortunately, psychiatrists are very much in demand. There are not enough psychiatrists in America to take care of all the patients with mental disorders. So try to make an appointment on time. I know there are 4 to 6, sometimes even 2 months waiting to get a psychiatrist appointment. I also want you to have a good primary care physician. A lot of the depression is treated by primary care physician. So having a primary care physician who again understands your disease, understands your lifestyle, understands what you are going through, understands your family, understands your career, your job, understands your stress. So have a primary care physician who not only can prescribe the medicine, but also take care of your overall well-being. Next important thing is the while you are feeling in between the depression episodes, while you are feeling good, try to read some self-help books. I try to read self-help book at least few hours a week every week. I try to read books on stress management. I try to read books on sleep. I try to read books on depression. I try to read just books on how to have a good well-being, books on health, books on healthy eating, books on stress management, books on many of the various topics for well-being. So again, in between the depression episodes, when you're feeling good, invest your time into feeling better, feeling stronger, so that way you can prevent the relapse of depression. Next important thing is having positive emotions. What we feel every day is the way our day is going to go. That's how we're going to prevent the relapse of depression. And having positive emotions is very important. I want you to list the positive emotions I'm going to tell you and have that list ready in front of you on your phone every day. And try to create those positive emotions every day, as many as possible. And those positive emotions include love, pride, happiness, gratitude, satisfaction, awe feeling, amusement, hope, euphoria, and admiration. Again, those are the positive emotions. I want you to have few of those positive emotions every day. For example, love. Love is a very important positive emotion. Matter of fact, it's considered the grand, it's considered the positive father of all positive emotion. Love is the most positive emotion. Having a love from your spouse or your partner or your family member or your friend or your coworker is very important. Having a pride is also very important. Being happy, showing the gratitude, all those things are positive emotions, and try to practice those positive emotions as much as possible every day. Next thing is preventing the negative emotions. Just like I said, having positive emotions prevent the relapse of depression. Having negative emotions actually makes you at risk of developing depression and having a relapse of depression. So prevent the negative emotions. So I'm going to give you the list. Have that list in front of you and try to prevent all those negative emotions as much as possible. And those negative emotions include fear, shame, frustration, anger, hatred, sadness, rage, annoyance, boredom, loneliness, self pity, disgust, depression, anxiety, jealousy, resentment, grief, and envy. Again, long list, a lot of things to write down, but have that list in front of you. You can actually Google it, but have that list in front of you and try to prevent those negative emotions as much as possible. For example, fear. Try not to have any fear. Whatever fears you have, try to overcome those fear by analyzing the fear, by overcoming the fear, by going out of your comfort zone and see if you can eliminate the fear from your life. Same way, any kind of shame, try to analyze any kind of shame, overcome that, express yourself, be forgive yourself, and try to avoid any kind of shame. Same with frustration. Try not to be frustrated. Try to be proactive. Try to stay calm and cool and not have any frustration. We all get frustrated at times, either at work or at home, but it's very important we have minimum frustration or no frustration. So again, there's a list of these negative emotions. Try to have the list in front of you and try to prevent all those negative emotions during the day as much as possible. Next thing is very important, and that's about social media. Social media is very, very tricky subject. Social media is important. I love my Facebook. I teach all my followers on the Facebook. So I take Facebook very seriously and I enjoy Facebook. At the same time, mindlessly being on Facebook wastes a lot of time, a lot of comparison, a lot of envy, a lot of jealousy. All those things should be avoided by being on social media. Try to limit your social media no more than 1 hour per day. You can actually have your screen time on your phone and see how much time you have spent on social media. There are other social media like WhatsApp, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. So again, try to limit social media as much as possible and use the social media in a smart way. Use the social media for your benefits, for your well-being, instead of just mindlessly using social media. I use Facebook for my benefit to educate my friends, my family, my followers, myself. I actually belong to many Facebook groups which teaches me every day about healthy living, healthy lifestyle, how to take care of myself, how to prevent depression. So I use Facebook to my advantage. Instead of Facebook using me, I actually use the Facebook for my benefits. So learn to use social media in a smart way for your own advantage. Next thing is very important, and that's being mindful. We all know the importance of mindfulness. Mindfulness is nothing but staying in one thought, one action, one thinking, and trying to stay focused on that one task on your hand. Again, being mindful is very important. There's a simple technique which you can do actually to learn the mindfulness. So that technique is very popular, very common, very well thought of, and that's called raisin technique. Grab a raisin, put on your palm, look at the raisin, look at the crevices in the raisin, touch the raisin, feel how soft it is, feel how hard it is, what the color of the raisin. Just stay on the thought of the raisin itself. And then put the raisin in your mouth, chew it, see how it tastes, see what the consistency it is, see what other things you feel from the raisin, and then try to remember the memories about raisin and just stay on the thought of the raisin itself. So again, being mindful is very, very important. Next thing is very important is quit making assumptions. It's very important if you want to prevent the relapse of depression that you don't make any assumptions about life. That means no assumptions about health. That means you cannot assume they're going to be healthy for life. You cannot assume that you will never have a heart attack. You cannot assume you will never have a stroke or Alzheimer's disease or many other conditions. So always be proactive. Never make any assumptions. Same with your job. Never assume anything at job in terms of your boss talking to you or losing a job or getting fired or anything like that. Never assume anything. Same with relationship. Never assume anything in the relationship. Always be proactive in your relationship. Always be giving in your relationship. Next important thing is be a realist. Very important that we actually just not only think of things which are not possible, but things which are possible. Obviously, it's very much fun to have dreams. It's very much kind of a joy to have a lot of daydreaming, but at the same time, being a realist is very important. That means if I want to run marathon at 2 hour or 3 hour, it's not possible. I should not be killing my knees. I'm 58 years old and I have to be realist. If I want to run marathon, I probably run marathon in about 4.5 to 5.5 hours, and I should be very realist. So be a realist in life and not just daydream and not just have over expectations of yourself and try to have more depression and more relapse of depression. Also, next important thing is no comparison. We all are unique. We all are unique. Never have any comparison in terms of how big the house the neighbor has, how better job the other person has, how much money the other person has, what kind of car the other person drives, what kind of clothes the other person wear, how tall the other person is, how beautiful the other person is, whatever other things. But try not to have any comparison. People who have habits of comparing themselves to other things actually have very high chance of relapse of depression and also have a chance of developing depression itself. Also, other important thing is that sometimes we are not aware of what other people are going through. Let me tell you one thing. If you have 10 friends, 3 or 4 are suffering from depression. They may not show it outside. You may not know the details of it. You may not actually be aware of it. You may not be actually be able to even know what's going on, but many of them are suffering. So again, you are not unique. You are not the only person suffering from many chronic illness, many suffering, including depression. So just what you are going through, a lot of people are going through. So don't feel like you are the only person in the world who is suffering from depression or many other chronic illness. Next thing is try to have a best day you can. Every evening, reflect yourself and see how day you went and how can it be better tomorrow. You cannot do what's already done. You cannot change what's already done. So try to do the best you can every day and try to just make it a better next day by reflecting, by journaling, by planning, and by seeing what you can do better tomorrow. So again, every day the best you can. That kind of attitude actually prevents depression and prevents the relapse of depression. Next thing I want you to know, and I want myself to know, is that we all are unique. We all are unique. Like our good friend Steve Sharma says, that we are the 7 billion wonders of this world. We all are wonders of this world. Every individual person is a wonder of this world. We are unique. We have a unique life. My life is actually different than my wife's life, even though we live in the same house. Our kids' life, my parents' life, my brother's life, my in-laws' life. So again, I am unique. I have a unique life myself. So I try to be myself as much as possible. I want all of you to be yourself as much as possible. Being yourself prevents many depression episodes and prevents many relapse. Again, if you're watching, please share on your page. If this will be on YouTube, so watch tomorrow on YouTube. Please watch it again and again. Take notes, read the notes again and again. Watch this video again and again. I've taken a lot of efforts to come up with this seminar on treating depression and how to prevent the relapse of depression. Obviously, make sure you have a proper medical supervision. Make sure you take your medications. And obviously, if you are feeling suicidal, make sure you get immediate care, immediate attention. Next thing is very important is to learn to push yourself out of comfort zone. It's very important that we slightly go out of our comfort zone to grow, to learn new things, to learn better things, and we actually keep advancing ourselves. People who are progressive, people who advance themselves every day, have a less chance of relapse of depression, has less chance of even having depression itself. So be progressive, advance every day, push out of your comfort zone, and you will prevent the relapse of depression. I try to put myself out of my comfort zone. I try myself every day, actually. Next important thing is very important and proven technique to prevent the depression and prevent the relapse of depression is volunteering. When you volunteer, when you help people, when you help the community, when you help the society, when you help the world, the help is on the way. So always, always volunteer. You can do volunteering in person. Obviously, with this COVID-19, it's hard to volunteer in person, but you can volunteer on social media. Actually, actually doing this Facebook project, like doing this Facebook live on depression, is my way of volunteering to giving back to society, giving back to the world. Whatever skills I have, I want to give back to the society. I want to give back to the community. So I think it's very important you volunteer. Yesterday, for example, Steve Sharma, our good friend from Chicago, volunteered to interview a great author on School of Intentional Living. And I told Steve Sharma that there was his giving back to the society, giving back to the world. He thoroughly enjoyed himself, and he actually brought a lot of great views and a lot of good things to this world. His video will be available on YouTube, will be available to everyone. And that was a great thing he did. So we all should be volunteering ourselves. When we volunteer, depression doesn't come. When we volunteer, relapse of depression doesn't happen. Next thing is do good to others. Always be helpful. Always help someone on a daily basis. Help your spouse, help your kids, help your parents, help your friends, help your coworkers, help your boss. Always be helpful to someone every day. Help even a stranger. Help even somebody at church. Help somebody at a grocery store. If an old person is trying to put groceries in the car, go reach out and put the grocery in the person's car. So again, always be helpful. Again, you can extend that by even helping someone actually who's going through depression. That will be the ultimate way of preventing depression yourself. When you help a person who's going through depression, you actually prevent your own depression and you actually prevent the relapse of depression in your own case. So helping a person who is going through depression is the ultimate way of preventing your own depression and preventing the relapse of depression. So always be helpful. Always do good to others. I try my best. I want all of you to try your best. Next thing is again, we cover partly, but improve your spiritual wealth. Be religious if you can. If you don't believe in any religion, that's okay. At least be spiritual. Believe in higher cause, believe in higher nature, believe in some higher supreme well being, and believe always in some kind of spirituality. Improving spiritual health is very important. Visiting church, visiting temple, visiting mosque, visiting a synagogue, visiting Buddhist temple is very important. Always visit those praying place. Always visiting the worship place is very important. Chant, uh, pray. All those things will make you better spiritually and will prevent the relapse of depression. Will prevent the depression. Next thing is very also proven technique is very simple is having certain aromatherapy, certain smell, certain aromatherapy. And one of them is lavender oil therapy. People who use lavender oil either in the evening when they're relaxing or sometimes in the evening when they're taking a hot bath at night, having a lavender oil or a lavender candle actually gives you instant relaxation. And there is some data that actually also lowers the stress and will prevent the relapse of depression and will prevent the depression. Obviously, you try it out yourself to see if it benefits you. Next important thing is another negative emotion, but I want to stress it one more time, and that's actually an anger. Never, ever, ever, ever get angry. Learn how to control your anger. Very important thing I'm telling you. Never get angry. I actually take pride in myself that I never get angry. I never get angry. That's just not in my blood. That's just not in my nature. In my 58 years of life, I probably have gotten angry no more than like 3 times in my whole life. I've never gotten angry in my life. I see some people who get angry every hour, every day. Those are not the good emotions to have. Though anger is one of the worst negative emotion. People who get angry all the time have very high chance of developing depression, very high chance of relapse of the depression. So never get angry. Always analyze the situation. Always be diplomatic. Always work things out. Always be concessionary and always see how you can resolve a hot issue or hot topic without getting angry. Always discuss things, always analyze the thing, always be gentle and just prevent anger as much as possible. Anger is never good. Even a controlled anger is never good. As much you hurt the other person with your anger, you actually hurt yourself 1,000 times by causing an anger. So never ever have anger in your life. Next important thing, which I do it every day, is to have to-do lists and check it off as you finish them. Try to make the to-do list the night before. So for example, if you want to change the oil in your car, put that in your to-do list, and next day when you finish it, check it off. When you finish the to-do list, actually it gives you dopamine surge, and it makes you feel good, and it prevents the depression, prevent the relapse of the depression. So always have to-do lists. I always have to-do lists. Always, there are a lot of apps on iPhone. You can actually have a daily list, weekly reminders, and as you get it done, it actually goes into a storage mode. You can look at it again, but it actually goes away from your list. So have some kind of app or have just pen and paper to make your to-do list and check it off. And let me tell you, you will feel so good when you finish your to-do list. Whenever I finish my list, I felt great. If you put 10 things in your list to do, even if you finish 6 things, it's still a great feeling. Obviously, if you finish all 10, it's the best feeling you will ever get. Like I said, increase the dopamine. So always have to-do lists and always finish them. But again, be a realist. Don't put a to-do list with things you absolutely cannot finish in next months and years. So be very realist, be very practical, and have a to-do list which you can finish in the next day or next 2 or 3 days. Next important thing is sitting or walking in the nature. Nature can do wonders to you. People who suffer from depression should get out in nature every day. I try myself. At work, I sometimes go out of the hospital, no matter how cold it is, no matter how hot it is. I just walk outside the hospital for 10 or 15 minutes during my lunch break and try to get fresh air. I try to get sometimes cool air if it's a winter month. Sometimes I get a sunlight. Sometimes I see a cloud. Just seeing nature is very important. Many of us are cooped up into building. Sometimes we are in the car, then we are at work in the building, and we are at home in building. We never see a nature outside. So going out in the nature is very, very important. I have to go at least 15 to 30 minutes, 15 minutes minimum in the nature. Walking in the nature would be ideal. But you can even sit in the nature, sit on your deck, or sit in your sunroom and try to enjoy nature as much as possible. Next thing is try to be as organized as possible. People who are tidy, people who are organized, they have less stress and they have less chance of relapse of depression, as less chance of even depression. It's having depression itself. So organize your house, organize your kitchen, organize your car, organize your desk at work, organize everything in your life as much as possible. Organize your finances. So organize your life as much as possible. People who are organized, they have less stress, less chance of depression, less chance of relapse of the depression. People who have chaotic life, they always have very high chance of depression, high chance of relapse of depression. Next thing is very important. Next thing is drinking at least 64 ounces of water, preferably a gallon of water. Our brain is 60 to 80% water. Our body is 60% water. So very important we have a proper hydration. Many of us actually wait until we are thirsty to drink water, but actually by then we are already dehydrated. So make a habit of carrying a glass of water every day, or a glass bottle of water every day, and try to drink every hour if you can. The simple thing is, if you are peeing a clear urine every hour or two, that means you are drinking enough water. But minimum 64 ounces, preferably 1 gallon of water. Let me stress important thing. If you drink adequate water, you will have a less chance of depression, less chance of relapse of depression. This is very simple advice, but it's proven the people who drink water on a regular basis prevent the depression, prevent the relapse of depression. Next important thing is daily yoga practice. People who practice yoga have less chance of depression, less chance of relapse of depression. You can just do simple yoga from YouTube videos, or you can take a yoga classes, or you can actually just do some flexibility, some stretching exercise, whatever things works for you, but try to do some kind of stretching and flexibility and yoga or Tai Chi or any kind of practice which actually relaxes and stretches your body on a daily basis, at least 3 or 4 times a week. So yoga practice is very important to prevent the depression, prevent the relapse of depression. Next thing is increasing parasympathetic tone. We have sympathetic system in our body and we have parasympathetic system in our body. Sympathetic system is the one which works for fight, flight, or freeze response. For example, if a dog is running after me on a street, I will have a flight response. I may have a freeze response, and that's a sympathetic system. And sympathetic system once in a while, maybe once a week, is okay. But if you have sympathetic drive every hour, it's very unhealthy. Parasympathetic is the rest and digest system where actually your body is recovering, your body is rejuvenating, body is actually relaxing. So having a higher parasympathetic tone is very important. I have a separate video on how to increase parasympathetic tone. Please watch that video. Again, increase the parasympathetic tone. People who have a high parasympathetic tone actually have a less chance of depression, less chance of relapse of depression. Parasympathetic tone can actually be measured by heart rate variability. Heart rate variability, where actually we know the beat to beat difference in terms of the time, how your beats are beating, how your heartbeats are beating, and actually you can have a different devices. There's a one device called Whoop, which I wear it. Actually, you can know how is your parasympathetic tone. But the key thing is to increase the parasympathetic tone. And please watch the separate video. Next thing is, again, it comes down to our diet. Having a high fiber diet is very important. High fiber diet prevents many chronic disease, and actually there's some data that it actually prevents depression and prevents relapse of the depression. As American, we don't eat enough fiber. Fiber only comes from whole food, plant-based diet, and to have adequate fiber, you must eat enough vegetables, fruits, cooked beans, and intact grains. Animal products give zero fiber, so try to minimize animal products, no more than 10% calories from your diet. Again, share this thing on your page if you think your loved one will benefit. This seminar is on how to prevent depression and how to prevent the relapse of depression with and without medications. This is a long seminar, but it's very important. Depression is a very common disease. I suffered myself depression 10 years ago, and this is some of the methods and techniques which I use every day to prevent my second episode of depression. Next thing is dairy. Having a dairy also can cause a lot of chronic inflammation, so try to avoid dairy as much as possible if you suffer from depression. Next thing is a very important technique, which I still do it even every night, and that's keeping a pen and paper at bedside at night. Having a pen and paper at bedside at night, if you have a thought which you cannot get it off your mind and cannot fall back to sleep, quickly write down on the paper, and let me tell you, that will relieve your mind of that crazy thought going, and you will have a very high chance of falling back to sleep. So again, having a pen and paper bedside at night time is also another technique which I use at times. Like I said earlier in the beginning, that when you wake up in the morning, before even you put your foot from the bed to the floor, having a gratitude to the life, having gratitude to everything happening, everything good happening in your life is very important. Making that habit of having gratitude recitation every morning has helped me so much. I recite my gratitude every morning when I wake up, and I recite my gratitude every night when I go to sleep. Every night. This is my habit for last many years. Next thing is very important. Next thing is having a good financial health. Financial stress is a major stress for many of us. Having a good financial health actually will prevent a lot of chronic stress, a lot of stress, and will prevent depression, will prevent the relapse of depression. So always save 20% if you can. Always contribute to your retirement. Always have 3 to 6 months of reserve. People who suffer from depression, many times when the next bout of depression comes, it can be very severe, and you may not be able to work for sometimes 2 weeks, sometimes for a month, sometimes for even 3 months. At that time, if you have a reserve of money, you'll be able to survive, and you will have less stress, and then you will have higher chance of coming out of depression. So always have a good financial health. Always be smart in terms of taking care of your finances. Next thing is a very important technique which I have used for last about 5 or 7 years, and that's creating a happy memory list. So I'm on my phone. I have a list of my happy memories, and those happy memories go back as young as when I was 5 or 6 years old until today, and I add happy memories to that list. Those happy memories I actually savor periodically. I look at those happy memories periodically, and that keeps my mind happy, my mind calm and cool. And actually, I actually enjoy remembering those happy memories. Essentially, having a self counseling, having a self support by watching, by reading. And those happy memories can be either you can write it down on your phone, or you can have even videos on your phone. If you're having a party, if you're having a dinner, if you're having any kind of gathering, if you visit a place, have those memories on your phone and periodically watch those happy memories. Happy memories and watching them actually lowers your stress, lowers the chance of depression, lowers the relapse of depression. Next thing is having, I call daily dose, DOSE, DOSE. D stands for having daily dopamine, and one of the technique I told you, and that's to finishing to-do list. Next thing is oxytocin, having a high hormone oxytocin by hugs and touches. By touch, it raises the oxytocin level. Next thing is increasing serotonin by proper sleep, by meditation, and that also lowers the chance of depression, prevents the relapse of depression. And next thing is very important is endorphins. By regular vigorous physical activity, you can increase your endorphins. Endorphins are feel-good hormone. So if you have a daily dose, again, daily dopamine, daily oxytocin, daily serotonin, and daily endorphins. If you have daily all four of them, you will have very less chance of developing depression, very less chance of relapsing the depression. Daily hug and daily touch is very important from your loved ones, from your spouse, from your partner, from your family, from your friends, from your loved ones. Also, next thing is very important that having a pet in the house or having a live plant in the house. Particularly if you are single, definitely have a pet in the house or have a lively plant. Being single is one of the major risk factor for having depression or for having a relapse of depression. Very important that you have some kind of company, whether it's a human company or an animal company or a plant company in the house. Something which is active, something which is growing, something which is responding back to you, something which you can take care of, something which you can get involved. So again, having a human company is probably the most important. But if you are single, if you're living by yourself, having some other company, including a dog or a cat or any kind of pet, and having a live plant in the house is very important. This has shown to prevent depression. This has shown to prevent the relapse of depression. Next important thing is not watching too much TV. TV definitely is a mindless activity. You should limit your TV no more than 30 minutes per day. Those mindless binge on Netflix, mindless binge on CNN or Fox should be avoided as much as possible. I definitely don't watch TV more than probably 2 hours a week. I watch typically TV maybe 15 to 30 minutes per day, sometimes even less. If I'm busy reading, if I'm busy walking, if I'm busy meditating, I just don't watch TV. I get my news from a news app on my phone, and I get my news in less than 5 or 7 minutes per day. Watching mindless Netflix, watching mindless news only increases stress and only increases chance of depression and chance of relapse of depression. And I keep repeating myself, preventing relapse of depression is very important because once a depression relapses, the next episode comes quicker, and next episode many times is severe. So preventing relapse is very important. I'm showing you all these techniques. Watch again and again, make a list, and follow as many techniques as you can to prevent the relapse of depression. Next thing is visiting your childhood friends or calling up your childhood friends. If you have childhood happy friends which you can relate to, which you grew up with, all those things also has a lowering stress effect and will prevent depression, will prevent the relapse of depression. Again, it falls into having a good social bonding, social relationship, but having childhood friend is a very special thing in my opinion, in my heart, and I call up my childhood friends at least a few times a week and chat with them, remember the good old times, and that definitely makes me, feel relaxed and prevents my second episode of depression. Next thing is very important, and that's the Stoic principle. And actually, that principle is also shown into serenity prayer. Many of you are aware of serenity prayer, which is as simple as saying, change what you can, not worry about what you cannot change, and have the wisdom to know the difference. So, again, keeping life very simple, change things which you can change and what needs to be changed, and then not worry about things which you cannot change. And again, knowing difference, what things you can change, what things you cannot change, having that wisdom. So this serenity prayer is very important. This is actually one of the Stoic principle. Please watch videos on Stoicism on my YouTube channel, Healthy Living with Dr. Ajay Shah. I have a separate video on how to be Stoic, how to practice Stoicism, and that will help you to be Stoic, and that will help you to prevent depression, prevent the relapse of depression. Also, next thing is very important is having daily affirmations. Daily affirmations are very important, and those affirmations actually makes you stronger, makes you less stressed, and prevents depression, prevents the relapse of depression. Some of the affirmations I do myself. I try to do at least a few times a day, and that's feeling. And it takes few seconds to do it. It's just a matter of having a list on your phone and just reading them from the list. For example, for me, I always say I'm strong, I'm healthy, I'm hardworking, I contribute to the society, I take care of myself. Uh, I read every day. I'm smart. I'm preventing my second episode of depression. All those affirmations are very important because it makes you essentially that you value yourself. So daily affirmations are very important, particularly daily affirmations about how well-being you have, how strong you are, how healthy you are. Next thing is very important. Again, it goes with the diet, what you eat, daily spices like turmeric, black pepper. Also, all those things are very important. Turmeric, particularly, shown to cause less chance of chronic inflammation, less chance of depression, less chance of relapsing the depression. Next thing is very important. So listen to this. Next thing is very important, and that thing is to reflecting your life. I reflect every hour, I reflect every day, I reflect every week. I sit down quietly and I reflect how my day went. What worked, what did not work, what caused me stress, what made me relax, what fun I had, how can I do better tomorrow. Those reflecting is very, very important. You can do reflection many times as you are driving the car. Your mind can multitask. Many times when I'm commuting, as I'm on autopilot, as I'm on a cruise control behind a semi, I'm going at a proper speed, I'm relaxed, I'm just, even the commute can be sometimes, stressful. For me, the commute is the most relaxing thing. And many times I reflect on my life when I'm commuting. So again, reflection is very important. You can do reflection in your mind. You can reflect with friends. You can reflect with family. You can reflect with your spouse. Interactive reflection is also very important. Or you can reflect with your counselor, you can reflect with your psychiatrist, or you can reflect with any person. But reflection is very important. Self-reflection, reflection with a person is very important. You can do reflection in writing also. Journaling is nothing but reflection. So reflect every day, minimum, possibly more than a few times a day. Stop yourself, pause yourself, and reflect as much as possible. Next thing is very important is having some fun in life, having more laughter, watching a funny movie, telling few jokes. It's very important. Learn to tell few jokes. I'm working on that thing myself. I'm not very good at telling jokes, but I'm learning how to tell few good jokes. We all should know how to tell few good jokes. We all should laugh more. We all should watch some more funny movies. That's very important to lower the stress. Laughter is the best medicine. Laughter actually increases some happy hormones, including endorphins, including dopamine, and very important, we laugh every day. People who laugh every day have less chance of depression, less chance of relapsing the depression. Also, next thing is very important is watching once in a while a tragic movie. Watching about some tragic thing happen in the world, a tragic documentary or a tragic movie is very important. Then you realize how good of a life you have. Next thing is very important is drinking lots of green tea without caffeine. Lots of drinking green tea without caffeine. Green tea has many benefits, including many polyphenols, many antioxidants, and that lowers the depression, that lowers the chance of relapse of depression. Again, please share this on your page. This is a video, this is a seminar on preventing depression and preventing relapse of depression. If you think your loved one will benefit, please share on your page. Next thing is a bibliotherapy, which is essentially reading various books on how to prevent depression, how to prevent relapse of depression. There are thousands of books on depression, how to prevent relapse of depression. There are thousands of books on stress management. Pick a good book. I'll give you some list and read that book. And that book therapy actually can also prevent depression, prevent the relapse of depression. Next thing is very important is self-care. Self-care is very, very important to prevent depression, prevent the relapse of important. Self-care means taking care of your health, taking care of your body, taking care of your sleep, taking care of your finances, taking care of yourself. It's never selfish when you take care of yourself. Always put yourself as number one person in your life. And that's not selfish. If you are well taken care of, then you will take care of your spouse better, you will take care of your family better, you will take care of your friends better, you will take care of your coworker better, you will take care of your society, you will take care of the world better. But first, you have to take care of yourself. So take care of yourself, number one. Self-care is very important. It's not selfish to take care of yourself. Always take care of yourself, number one priority. Always invest into yourself. That means having a personal trainer, having an exercise equipment, having a healthy food, having any other thing which will make your life better, which will make your life smoother, which will make improve your health. All those things are very important. Self-care is very important. If you take care of yourself, you'll be able to take care of other people in a lot better way. So self-care is very important. Self-care is never selfish. Next thing is very important is to identify the triggers which puts you down, which lowers your mood, and which can put you into depression. If you've gone through more than a few episodes of depression, try to analyze what triggered the next episode of depression. Some of the triggers include having heavy alcohol drinks, having work-related stress, having relationship stress, having poor sleep, certain processed food, having a lot of sugar in your diet, lack of sleep, all those things can be trigger for causing depression or relapse of the depression. So identify your triggers and see if you can prevent those triggers happening. For me, the triggers include having few drinks and then poor sleep and then stress at work. That always lowers my mood, always makes me feel that I may trip back into depression. I try to avoid those triggers as much as possible. Sometimes processed food also triggers my low mood, and all those triggers should be avoided. Always also keep a mood diary. Again, that's part of journaling. Write down when you are feeling down and what could have caused you that feeling. Particularly when you're feeling down, write down what led to that feeling, whether it was a relationship, whether it was a work, whether it was any kind of event, whether it was any kind of food, whether it was alcohol, whatever the reason, having a mood diary is very important to prevent the depression, prevent the relapse of depression. Next thing is very important is to break the rumination cycle. When I was suffering 10 years ago from severe heavy depression, I was having ruminating cycle for weeks and months sometimes. I would ruminate, how would I have done better thing in my life? How could I have improved myself? How could I have prevented this thing happening? And the rumination was very taxing, was very draining, was very exhausting. Rumination is one of the worst feeling one can have. Ruminating is one of the worst thing for a person to go through. So rumination should be avoided by all means. Avoid the rumination by all means. You can avoid rumination by distracting yourself, by just forcing yourself to go for a walk in nature or going walk to a mall or watching a TV funny show or watching whatever show you like, watching a movie or just picking up a phone and calling someone, some loved one and coming out of the rumination cycle. Again, preventing rumination is very, very important. Next thing is not having too much critique yourself. We all are self-critical. We criticize ourselves more than we should. To try to respect your own well-being, try not to be over self-critic. Next thing is having not too much guilt about anything, not having too many regrets about anything. Learn lessons from all the mistakes you have made, but not have any regrets. Also, not having any guilt. If you have done something wrong, forgive, forget, discuss, analyze, and move on. So, no guilt, no regret. Very important if you want to prevent depression, if you want to prevent the relapse of depression. Also, maintaining good self esteem is very important. Value yourself, have a pride about yourself, work hard, take care of yourself, but always maintain a good self esteem. Obviously, we don't want to be narcissistic, but at the same time, maintaining a good self esteem is very important. Also, improve your relationship. Improve your relationship with your spouse, with your family, with your friends, with your coworkers, with your society, and with the world. Improve the social bond, social relationship. If you are in any toxic, negative relationship, come out of it ASAP. Toxic, negative relationship is one of the major reason for depression, a major reason for relapse of depression. Come out of toxic, negative relationship ASAP. Analyze it, see if you can improve it, see if you can make it better. But once you know this toxic negative relationship is not salvageable, come out of it ASAP and move on. Let me do that. I've done that with many times. I want all of you to do that. Um, Definitely no smartphone as much as possible. Try to have hour or two every day where you put the phone away, put the phone in the charger, and sit down and do your other relaxing activity. And those activity can include exercise or meditation or reading or cooking or cleaning or going for a walk or talking to your loved one or whatever things you like. But put your smartphone away hour or two every day if possible. Obviously, if you're on call, like myself, I'm a cardiologist, many times I'm on call and I have to have phone with me. At least put the phone away and wait for the phone call to come, but don't look at the screen nonstop 24/7. Also, make a habit of using some hand mind activity. That means doing some housework, cleaning kitchen, cooking, gardening, or any crocheting or sewing. Any kind of hand mind activity will prevent depression, will prevent the relapse of depression. Other thing which I learned, which I try to do it every day, is whenever you have a moment, try to just close your eyes, try to block any external stimulus, and try to relax. Closing eyes is one of the most relaxing thing you can do. Our eyes gives us the most stimulus to our brain. When you close your eyes, it puts you to instant relaxation. So even at work, every hour, you can close your eyes 3 to 5 minutes and just try to observe your breath and relax. At home, once you come home, 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock, whenever you come home, every hour, try to close your eyes for 10 minutes and just relax, observe your breath. Let me tell you this, closing this eye technique has helped me tremendously. It actually puts me in an instant relaxation, lowers my stress, and prevents my second episode of depression. Next thing is very important, and that thing is observing your thoughts as an outsider. Think all your thoughts are coming as a second person, or all your actions which you're trying to do, what you should be doing as a second person, as a somebody who is an observer from outside. And you can actually have a role model for every action, every thought you have in your head, and see what that person, what that role model would do if you were in, if that person, if that role model was in that situation. So again, playing out a scenario as if your role model will do that action or have that thought is very important. So always learn to observe your thought, always learn to make actions as if you are an outsider. Next thing is very important, social media is there, Zoom calls are there, we all have FaceTime, we all have text message, we all have phone calls, we all have technology at our disposal to reach out to people. But at the same time, nothing can replace having a real person next to you and having that interaction. Obviously, in your house, you can interact with your spouse, with your family, with your kids, with your parents, whoever is living with you. With this COVID 19, it's hard to meet people in person, but try to meet as many people and in person as safely, as with social distancing, as much wearing the mask as possible. So, having a real interaction, not technological interaction, is very important in life. Next thing is take magnesium supplement. Magnesium supplement has also shown to cause lower the stress, lower the chance of depression, lower the chance of relapse of depression. Most of us are magnesium depleted, and having magnesium supplement is very important. Other supplement you can take is also 5-hydroxytryptophan. Obviously, do this thing under your doctor's supervision. But 5-hydroxytryptophan is an amino acid, and that also helps you with stress management and with preventing the relapse of depression. Next thing is very important is always keeping hope. Even though if you are suffering from depression, know that the depression will resolve and you will come out of it, and you have all the techniques at your disposal to prevent the next bout of depression. So always keeping hope is very, very important. Keeping hope is very important. I'm always hopeful that I will live 110 years old. I'm always hopeful that I will prevent heart attack. I'm always hopeful that I'll prevent diabetes. I'm always hopeful I'll prevent my second episode of depression. Obviously, I want to be realist. Obviously, I want to work hard. I want to earn. I want to I want to be very methodical. I want to actually, work based on science. I want to work based on evidence, but at the same time, I always want to keep the hope. People who are hopeful, they always have less chance of depression, less chance of relapse in depression. Even they have less chance of recovering from chronic illness, including cancer. They have less chance of being unhappy. So keeping hope is very, very important. We already talked about vitamin D. Make sure you take your vitamin D supplement. Also, saffron, which is a spices, is very important. There's actually data that saffron can be as good as antidepressant drug. Saffron is a very expensive spice, but if you can afford it, having a small amount of saffron every day in your diet will prevent the depression, will prevent the next episode of depression. Again, we are covering right now how to prevent depression, how to prevent the relapse of depression. I've been covering this topic for last hour and a half. Please share with your friends your this live so they can benefit. Please share with your loved one. This will be on YouTube so you can watch it again and again. This is one of the most comprehensive seminar on how to prevent depression and how to prevent the relapse of depression. So watch it again and again, take notes, and do as many methods as you can possible. Next thing is having meditation, which is called loving kindness meditation. Loving kindness meditation is a very simple technique where you sit down, typically with closed eyes, and imagine or remember a loved one, a person you love, and wish that person the best life, best health, best love, best whatever world can offer, and wishing that person the best you can. Having the loving kindness meditation, that means essentially spreading the love to that person in your thoughts. Having this loving kindness meditation has shown benefit in terms of preventing depression to yourself and preventing the relapse of depression. Meditation is very important skill. Meditation is very important for preventing depression, preventing relapse of depression. Again, share our live on your page if you think your loved one will benefit. Next thing is make sure you rule out many of the medical disease, because those medical disease can cause depression and can cause the relapse of the depression. Some of the examples include hypothyroid or low thyroid level, some of the autoimmune disease like lupus or psoriasis. All those things are shown to cause depression and cause the relapse of depression. Certain cancers can also cause depression and prevention and relapse of depression, particularly pancreatic type cancer. Even diabetes has shown to cause depression and also relapse of depression. So make sure you prevent any chronic disease and definitely know the chronic disease if you have. Next thing is making a habit every night of writing down 10 things you will do tomorrow. When you're going through depression, it's very hard to make goals, to make plans, make routine in our life. But if you have made a habit of writing down 10 things you will do tomorrow, when you are feeling good, in between the bouts of depression, if you have made a habit of writing down 10 things you will do tomorrow, then you will have something looking forward to next day. You will wake up in the morning with some energy, with some enthusiasm that you have 10 things to do today. It will also lower the chance of suicidal thought. People who don't have purpose in life, people who don't have anywhere to go, anything to do, the very high chance of suicidal ideation, suicidal thoughts, a very high chance of committing suicide. So if you make a habit every night of writing down 10 things you will do tomorrow, I have made a habit every night in my journaling of what I'm going to do tomorrow. And those things could be as simple as I'm going to exercise tomorrow 30 minutes. I'm going to do weight training. I'm going to do chest exercise. I'm going to go out for a walk with my wife. I'm going to go take my car to the service. I'm going to go grocery shopping. I'm going to cook tomorrow. I'm going to whatever things you're going to do. Write down those things you're going to do tomorrow. So you are looking forward to those things next day, and that will give you an enthusiasm in the morning that you have a purpose to life, you have a purpose to the day, and they will lower the chance of depression, lower the chance of relapse of depression, lower the chance of even suicidal ideations. Also, next thing is very important is having a life coach. Life coaching is becoming very common, and having a good life coach is very important. There are a lot of good life coach available. They are not that expensive, and they actually analyze your life and can guide you through. Also, having a health coach is very important. Having a good primary care physician, having a good psychiatrist is very important. If you can afford it, having a personal trainer is also very important, and definitely having a good counselor or a good psychologist is very important. Next technique which I learned from learning about stoicism, and that's practicing negative visualization. Let me tell you what negative visualization means. Negative visualization means playing out a scenario in your mind as if something already has gone wrong in your life. Again, practicing a scenario in your mind as if something already has gone wrong in your life. And how will you tackle that situation? How will you analyze that situation? How will you overcome that situation in your mind? Playing out the scenario in your mind, a negative visualization. This technique has been around for thousands of years. Stoic people practice it all the time to prevent depression, prevent the relapse of depression. To give you a simple example of playing out as if you are going to lose a job, what would you do? How would you handle your finances? How would you handle finding a next job? If you have a plan laid out, then you will never be worried if you suddenly get fired. Then you will always have a plan. And do this negative visualization in your head, do this negative visualization on the paper. So that way you will have played out all those scenarios as if something go wrong. How would you plan your life? How would you analyze? How would you overcome that event happen in your life? Very important to learn negative visualization. We already talked about helping others as much as possible. When you help people, you actually have very less chance of depression, very less chance of relapse of depression. Acupuncture is another technique. Acupuncture has some data that if you receive regular acupuncture technique, you prevent the relapse of depression. You also prevent the depression. Having a regular massage is also very important. It's also shown to prevent the event of depression and prevent the relapse of depression. Having an adequate vitamin B12 is also very important. Taking a regular multivitamin is very important. And we already talked about vitamin D. Also, having dinner with family, dinner with loved ones, dinner with family also is very important. We already talked about going to a worship place like church, temple, mosque, or synagogue at least once a week is very important. Eating daily berries, particularly blueberries, is also very important for brain health, very important for preventing depression, preventing relapse of depression. Also, having a healthy microbiome. Microbiome is actually the one which means having a healthy gut bacteria. Having a healthy microbiome is also very important, and that prevents depression, that prevents relapse of depression. Eating fermented food is very important. Eating soluble fiber is very important to having a healthy microbiome. Regular plant-based yogurt is also very important. Also, reading positive thinking books. For example, Power of Positive Thinking. Positive thinking is very important skill to have, and try to find five positive things in every negative thing. I have made a habit of trying to find positive thing in every negative thing happening in my life. To give you an example, if you are stuck in traffic, how you can find five positive things out of being stuck in the traffic. My five positive thing would be: number one, I can listen to some good songs. I can listen to a good iPod or iTunes. I can listen to a podcast. I can call my loved one. I can even observe my breath. At least I'm not the one who caused the accident and caused the traffic jam. There are a lot of positive things about being stuck in the traffic jam. If you start cursing, if you start getting angry, if you start having a stress about being stuck in the traffic jam, that's not healthy. That's going to cause a lot of stress. That's going to cause relapse of depression. That's going to cause even an episode of depression. So try to find five positive things in every negative thing. And let me tell you one thing: if you make a habit of finding five positive things out of every negative thing, that will become very easy, that will become second nature, and you will automatically find positive thing in every negative thing happening. That's a great skill to have. That's a great asset to have. Find five positive things in every negative thing happening. Also, next important skill is a creative visualization. It's always fun. It's always kind of a joy to have some kind of daydreaming, some kind of goal setting, and playing out the scenario in your mind. I played out the scenario when I was in high school, that how would I do if I become a physician, and that scenario always have helped me. I still play out all creative visualization, all creating fun scenarios in my life. I always play out a scenario. What if I can run a marathon in 5 hours? I always play out. I always kind of a daydream that gives me joy, that gives me fun, and it's kind of a just a fun thing to do periodically. Again, I said financial health is very important. Financial stress is a major stress for a lot of people, and financial stress can lead to depression. Financial stress can lead to relapse of depression. Avoid all financial stress as much as possible. Again, please share on your page this whole live. If you think your loved one will benefit from this live, this will be on YouTube, so watch on the YouTube again and again. Take notes and do as many methods, as many techniques as much as possible. Um, Again, forgiving is very important skill to have. I have a separate video on YouTube on our channel, Healthy Living with Dr. Ajay Shah, how to forgive people. Forgiveness actually helps you the most. I have forgiven everyone who has done any unhealthy thing, any bad thing to me. I have zero grudge. I have forgiven everybody. So forgive people you need to forgive in your life. When you forgive people, whether you forgive your ex-spouse, forgive a friend, forgive a coworker, forgive a child, forgive parents, whoever, forgive mom, forgiving is very important. Forgetting is very important too, because when you forget any unhealthy event in your life, it clears out your mind, it gives you a fresh start. So always forgive and forget and move on. Also, having a life purpose is very important. Always have a list in your phone that what is purpose to the life. What things you can contribute to society, contribute to your family, contribute to your spouse, contribute to your partner. Having a purpose in life is very important. Look at the purpose in life every day. Have a daily purpose, have a weekly purpose, have a yearly purpose, have a purpose for the decade, and have a purpose for the life. Next thing is learn to make other people happy. Whenever I made somebody happy, that has made me actually happier than even that person who got happy. So learn how to make other people happy, how to be pleasant, how to increase joy in other people's life. Those things can be as simple as buying somebody a surprise coffee, buying surprise drink, by having going for a walk with your spouse. Like this morning, I went for a 1 hour walk with my wife, and that was one of the best things she said happened to her. She was very happy, and that actually made me happy. So again, making other people happy prevents depression, prevents the relapse of depression. Also, other technique, other skill I want all of you to learn. I do it every day, and actually I'm pretty good at it. And I think a lot of people tell me that I'm pretty good at it, is to give compliments. I actually don't reserve any compliments. I give compliments instantly when they're due. I give compliments instantly when they're due. I compliment my wife, I compliment our kids, I compliment my friends, I compliment my parents, I compliment my coworkers, I compliment my boss, I compliment my organization who I work for, I compliment society, I compliment our president, I compliment the world, I compliment everybody every day. And let me tell you, when I compliment people, I receive the compliments also. And giving and receiving compliment is very important for mental well-being. When you give and receive compliment, your stress goes low, you have less chance of getting depression, you have less chance of relapse of the depression. I have given a separate talk on happiness. What the talk on happiness? It's already on YouTube. It's one of the most comprehensive talk on happiness. People who are happy have less chance of depression, less chance of relapse of depression. Happiness itself is a big science. There are thousands of books written on happiness. I have read about 25 books on happiness, and I've come out with this 3 hour seminar on happiness. That seminar is already on YouTube. Watch that seminar on happiness. There's another course from Yale University on happiness. It's on Coursera. Coursera is a free learning website, Coursera. Watch that happiness course at Yale. Also, knowing that obstacles, when they come in our life, are actually the way you grow. Having a high adversity quotient, being resilient is very important. Learn techniques how you can be resilient. Learn techniques how you can have high adversity quotient. Learn that obstacles are here to make you grow. Take obstacles as a learning lesson. Take obstacles as a challenge to grow. Again, I take every obstacle come in my life as a learning lesson. I grow from every obstacle. Obviously, I'm human. Sometimes I get discouraged. Sometimes I get depressed. Sometimes I get like disheartened. But I try my best to learn from every obstacle I have. 10 years ago, I went through major depression, very major depression. I took as a major obstacle, and I learned from it how I can be happy. Next thing you can do is always be very analytic and be very logical. Analyze every situation, analyze every relationship, analyze every event. When you analyze situation, you have higher chance of lowering the stress. When you analyze and when you make a proper action, you will be more proactive instead of reactive. When you analyze the situation, you'll have high chance of being proactive instead of reactive. People who are proactive have less chance of depression, less chance of relapse of depression. People who are reactive are very stressed, the very high chance of depression, very high chance of relapse of depression. Also, next thing is very important, and that is in my lecture on happiness, is preventing hedonic adaptation. Hedonic adaptation is a concept where when you buy material thing, you actually don't get the joy after a few days or few weeks. For example, buying a new car gives you joy for a few days, few weeks, but after that, you don't get any additional joy. So preventing those hedonic adaptation by just keep spending money into material things, try to avoid that as much as possible. Invest your time, invest your money, invest your resources into experiences. Going for a healthy dinner with your family and your friends, going for a walk, going on a healthy vacation, whatever safely you can go with this COVID-19 crisis. But having those experiences prevent the hedonic adaptation. Watch my video on how to prevent hedonic adaptation. Definitely no comparison. Next important concept is learning to cut loss and move on. It's very important we don't keep remembering things, what happened to us. Just cut the loss and move on. And that can be with people. You can sometimes just let those people go from your life, cut the loss and move on. It can be with events. It can be with your money. It can be with even your job. Cut the loss and move on. Just have a new life, have a new situation, have a new friend, have a new family, whatever, a new spouse, whatever necessary, but cut the loss and move on. Always be proactive. Always be proactive. I cannot stress enough. Always be proactive. People who are proactive have very less chance of depression, very less chance of relapse of depression. Prevention is the key. So be proactive with your health, be proactive with your money, be proactive with your relationship, be proactive with your house. Make sure you change your filters in your furnace. Make sure you have a proper maintenance of your car. Always be proactive. When you're proactive, you have less chance, less stress, and less chance of relapse of depression. Again, please share on your page if you think your loved one will benefit. This will be on YouTube. Watch on the YouTube. This is a long seminar, but if you have suffered depression, if you want to prevent the relapse of depression, this long seminar is very, very important. Next thing is believing in yourself. Very important. Just like having good self esteem, believe in yourself. Know that you can overcome depression. Know that you overcome any mental illness. Know that you can overcome any chronic illness. Know that you are strong enough to survive any storm. So, believing in yourself is very, very important. Next thing is which I've taught in my happiness talk is taking this character strength test online. Character strength test is available online, which gives you actually what top characters you have as a strength. Character strength test. I believe there are 24 character strengths, and you should know what character strengths you have. And try to practice those 8 top character strengths every day, and that will prevent depression, that will make you happy, that will prevent the relapse of depression. Again, character strength test online. It's an online test. Next thing is not working too many hours, not doing too much overtime. Be frugal, be minimalist, downsize, but try to work not more than 40 hours. Try not to have 2, 3 jobs so that way you can shop too much, you can overspend too much, and you can just keep spending the money. Try to work no more than 40 hours. And if you suffer from depression, maybe even cutting down to 20 or 30 hours, if you can afford it, and then putting that extra time into techniques what I'm showing you for last 2 hours will be very important. So not overtime is very important. Not working overtime is very important. Obviously, some of us at times have to work overtime. I work 50 hours being a physician, but I try to protect myself as little hours as possible. Obviously, if you need to work 2 hours, do more techniques from this video, from this seminar, so that way you don't burn out and you don't fall into depression. But try to work 40 hours or 30 hours if you suffer from depression. Next important concept is keeping your plate 70% full. I always have told my family, my kids, all my friends that not try to overload your plate. Sometimes I'm equally guilty for it. I overload my plate. I try to do too many projects in my life and I always suffer. I always feel that I'm stressed out. I cannot handle all the things on my plate. So always leave room on your plate for emergencies. Always leave room on your plate for unexpected things. Always have downtime. Our mind needs relaxation, our body needs relaxation. We all need to recover from day to day stress, so always have downtime on an everyday life. Periodically taking vacations, periodically taking sabbaticals are also very important. Next important concept is a belief that you will make difference to your family, difference to the society, difference to the world. This concept is very important, particularly if you suffer from depression, because once you start believing that you're not going to be able to make any difference to your family, your spouse, the society, or the world, you have a very high chance of suicidal thoughts. So believe that you will make difference. Believe that you will make difference to yourself, difference to your family, difference to your spouse, difference to society, difference to the world. And that will make you away from suicidal thoughts. Obviously, if you have suicidal thoughts, seek the immediate attention, call 911 if necessary. Again, downsize, be a minimalist. Very important that you save your energy, you save your time, you save your money, you save your resources to take care of yourself. Particularly if you suffer from depression, always downsize and always be minimalist. Again, in between two depression episodes, you will always have a time when you will be feeling good, you'll be feeling fair. At that time, invest into all the techniques I'm showing you. Do as many techniques as you can to prevent the next episode of depression. Also, know the complications of depression when you are feeling good. Some of those complications include suicide, chronic health illnesses, chronic illnesses, financial complications, sleep complications, relationship complications, including divorce. So always know the complications of depression. If you know the complications, you'll be more proactive and you will prevent the next episode of depression. Also, take care of all your medical diseases. When you take care of all your chronic disease, you have very less chance of relapse of depression and very less chance of developing depression itself. Many times, depression is actually happens because of chronic illness, and actually depression can cause chronic illness. It's chicken and egg, but always take care of chronic illness, particularly diabetes, high blood pressure, obesity, heart disease, heart failure, Alzheimer's disease, cancer, many other chronic illness. Never have two negative emotions, and those are hate and revenge. Never have hate feeling, never have hatred to anybody, never have hatred to any event. Hatred is one of the most negative emotion one can ever have, that increases the stress, increases chance of depression, increases chance of relapse of depression. Also, never have revenge mentality. Revenge is never healthy. Analyze the situation, make up with the people you can, or cut the relation, stop seeing that person, but never have the revenge. Whatever thing happened in the past is thing from the past. Move on. Never have a grudge, never have revenge mentality. Next important concept is never put off any important work in your life. Always have priorities in your life. Have a list of things you need to do in life, including, for example, your doctor's appointment, your psychiatrist appointment, your psychologist appointment, appointment with your spouse, going on a date with your spouse, taking care of your kids, exercising. Always take care of important things in your life. Always prioritize. For example, never put off appointment with your psychiatrist. Never cancel your psychiatrist appointment. Never cancel your psychologist appointment. All those things are very important if you suffer from depression, or if you want to prevent the relapse of depression. Uh, Again, share this video on your page if you think your loved one who suffers from depression will benefit from this depression. Next important thing is having never a judgment in life. I don't judge people. I'm human. Sometimes I make mistakes. But I made a habit of not judging anybody. Always try to put yourself into other people's shoes, see why they acted in a certain way, why they behaved in a certain way, but never judge anybody. Never judge any person, never judge your spouse, never judge any friend, never judge any of your coworker. I also believe to extend the thought that when you love someone, love that person unconditionally. Loving unconditionally actually gives you the most joy. Loving unconditionally actually gives you the most joy, and you should love people whoever you love, you should love unconditionally. Love unconditionally, and you will actually benefit the most. Always be honest, always be truthful. When you are honest, it lowers your stress. You never have to hide anything. You never have to, never have to feel like you made a lot of mistakes. So always be honest. Also, always be truthful. When you are truthful, again, you don't have to hide anything. They say that every lie, you have to have 10 more lies to hide one lie. But if you are truthful, then you will never need to worry about having more lies in your life. Be the nicest and kindest person you can. Be the nicest and kindest person you can. When you are nice, when you are kind, it benefits you most actually. Your stress goes down, your chance of depression goes down, your chance of relapse of depression goes down. Always appreciate all the kind gestures from everyone and thank them immediately. If somebody does anything good to you, always appreciate that. Always have a gratitude and always thank them immediately. Always try to do something back for them. Always say that I will do something back whenever it's my turn. Always appreciate all the kind gestures. Always have a mentality instead of what is in for me, how can I how can I serve? Always have a mentality that how can I serve, not the mentality of what's in for me. Having a mentality of what's in for me is very unhealthy. It only increases the stress and it always makes you lose a good relationship and always you feel lonely, always you have issues with stress. So always feel like how can I serve more, not have a mentality of what's in for me. Next important thing is talk less and listen more. I know I've been talking for the last 2 hours, but always talk less and listen more. It's very important to develop listening skills. Never have argumentative mentality or argumentative habits. Never confront people. Just walk away. Just move on. Never confront anybody. Like I said, never have anger. Be very diplomatic. Be very tactful. Ignore all unnecessary and which are not truthful comments about yourself. Never take anything personally. Never take anybody insult to a heart. Always have self pride. Always have good self esteem and just move on. Cut your loss and move on. It should not bother you if anybody makes any comment about you. If somebody is guiding you, if somebody is critical of you to teach you, if somebody has a good intentions to make you grow, take those criticism and learn from it. But never ever get bothered by some unnecessary criticism of yourself. Never put yourself down. Learn from your mistakes. Learn from criticism, but never ever put yourself down. Never take things personally. Also, next important thing which applies to myself, applies to all of us, is resist the urge to correct people. There is no reason for us to correct people. Obviously, giving a constructive criticism is important, but be very tactful, be very diplomatic, not just have a constant urge to keep correcting people. Many times when we are driving with our spouse, he or she will say, slow down, you're going too fast, you missed the red light. All those things, obviously, if it's life threatening, tell your spouse or tell your friend, but never just make a habit of correcting people non-stop. It's just not necessary. Let people learn from their own actions, their own mistake. Next thing is very important is that find a person who is going through depression and help that person to come out of depression. When you help that person, you actually can learn yourself how things work and you actually have very high chance of not falling in depression and then preventing relapse of depression. Again, it's also very important that you share your feelings with the right person, share your feelings with a loved one. Don't share your feelings with the people who don't care, people who are not meant for you, and only share the feelings with the right person. Another important thing is that if you can, watch sunrise every morning for 15 to 30 minutes. If you have a way, if you have a time in the morning when you wake up, and if the sun is already up, Sit for 15 minutes in the sunrise, and let me tell you, that will help you tremendously. Read scriptures, read Gita, read Bible, read Quran, read whatever scriptures, read Buddhist scriptures, read Jewish scriptures, Buddhist scriptures. Scriptures have almost all the answers we need in our life. And let me tell you, depression is not a new disease. Depression has been around for 5,000 years, or 10,000, or 100,000 years. Even Arjun in Gita was depressed on a battlefield. And Lord Krishna walked him through to come out of that depression by giving him the message in our scripture, Gita. Bible has it, Quran has it, Jewish scriptures has it, Buddhist scriptures has it. All the scriptures have a lot of lessons, a lot of methods on how to come out of depression, how to prevent depression, how to prevent the relapse. So make a habit of reading scriptures you like, whatever scriptures you believe in. Next important thing is that if your work is too much stressful, change the job if necessary. If job is going to cause the depression, if your work is going to relapse the depression, it's better to change the job. Obviously, if you are skillful, if you are hardworking, you will find the right job. Make that decision based on your own circumstances. But if your work, if your workplace is causing stress enough to fall into depression, change the job if necessary. Also, important thing to know that set intentions to heal. That means know that you can heal your depression. Know that you can prevent the relapse of depression. Very important concept. Set the intentions that you can heal your depression. Have that intentions in your mind all the time. Next important concept, very important, which I touched partly based on, is that be lonely as little as possible. When you're going through depression, try not to be lonely. Talk to your spouse, talk to your family, talk to your kids, talk to your parents. Call up a person, call up a friend, call your coworker, go to work, go for a walk, go for a grocery shopping, go for a dinner with your friends, but be as little lonely as possible. Always have a company when you're going through depression. Always having a company prevents many relapse of depression. Also, listen to the music you like. Music is a great therapy for stress management. Music is a great therapy for preventing depression, preventing the relapse of depression. Also, preventing many chronic disease will prevent the depression. Like I covered the base on obesity. Obesity is one of the major reasons for depression. Prevent the obesity by all means. Eat healthy, eat whole food, plant-based, eat calorie restriction diet. Prevent the obesity. Prevent the overweight situation. Also, there is a video on YouTube on 6 pillars of healthy lifestyle. What those videos on my YouTube channel. Also learn how to journal. I have a separate video on how to journal and what that video, it's on my YouTube channel. Also make a habit of scoring your stress on every day. Every evening when you journal, see how stressful your day was on a scale of 1 to 10. If your day was more than 7 on a scale of 1 to 10, analyze why your day was stressful and how you can make your day better tomorrow. Also, having a sympathetic joy, that concept is very important. Learning how to be happy when other people are happy. Again, learning how to be happy when other people are happy is very important. That actually somehow paradoxically lowers your stress, prevents the depression, prevents the relapse of depression. Having an equanimity, having an equanimity is very important. That means not going too high and not going too low with joy and sorrow in life, with any event, with any relationship, how not to go too high, how not to go too low. Having an equanimity is very important. We call in our language sthit prajna. Being sthit prajna is very important. Also having sthir mati means having your thoughts, even level thought is very important. Always be present, always be pleasant, always be pleasant. Never have a harsh criticism of anybody. Always be joyous. Always, like I always say, be pleasant, be calm, be cool. I also say learn to tell few jokes. When you tell few jokes, it somehow gives you a joy yourself. Learn to sing few songs. Singing is one of the most important therapy. My wife loves to sing, and I've seen her most happy whenever she has sung few songs, either privately herself or whenever she sang in a group or in a public way. We were at somebody's house and she sang 4 or 5 songs, and I can see that she was the most happy person after singing those songs. Always dress up. No matter how much down you feel, no matter how depressed you are, no matter how low you feel, always dress up. Wear your best clothes possible. Whatever best clothes you always have. Always wear the cleanest clothes possible. Always dress up. Always shave. Always groom up. Shower every day. No matter how down you feel, shower every day. Many times it's not that easy. When you're going through that depression, you want to just sit. You just want to feel down. You just want to feel sorry. You just want to feel pity. But try to resist that and try to dress up. Get out of the house in your best clothes. Always groom up. Shower at least once a day, shower twice a day. 10 years ago, when I was going through depression, sometimes I did not take shower for 2 or 3 days. I would just sit in our bedroom and I would just feel gloomy. I would just feel down. I will just feel sorry about myself. I wish I had forced myself to shower every day, shave every day, wear proper clothes, and go out and meet people. So do that when you're feeling down every day. Also, learn to create non money wealth. Create non money wealth. Money is not the only wealth we should have. Create non money wealth. Those, those wealth include relationship with your spouse, with your family, having a good health, more giving, more charity, more positive friends, having a spiritual wealth, helping others, and also becoming a time millionaire. Having more time in the life is more important than more money. Time never comes back. Money can come back. So become a time millionaire, not just a dollar or a money millionaire. Learn to delegate. Very important. We ration our time. We delegate as much as possible. I always try to delegate as much as possible so I can have time to meditate. I can have time to exercise. I can have time to journal. So I try to delegate as much as possible. Obviously, certain things you cannot delegate. You cannot delegate somebody to exercise for you. You cannot delegate somebody to eat healthy food for you. You cannot delegate somebody to meditate for you, but delegate whatever you can so you can have time to do the healthy activities. So let me give you my sample day. My sample day typically has 8 hours of work, 8 hours of sleep, 1 hour of exercise, 30 minutes to 1 hour of meditation, 15 to 30 minutes of breathing exercise, 1 hour in eating, 1 hour in cooking or housework, 1 hour in personal time like shower and grooming and dressing, 50 to 30 minutes of sitting in sauna, 50 to 30 minutes of journaling and reflecting every day, 1 hour of social activity. Sometimes I go on a ride with my brother. Sometimes I go on a ride with my spouse, with my wife. Sometimes I go on a walk with a friend. Sometimes I have a long commute, so I try to do other things. But most people have less than 30-minute commute. And on the weekends, when you are not working, when you have those 8 extra hours on Saturday or on Sunday, do more social activity, do more self-reflection, do more self-care, do more meditation, do more exercise, do more volunteer work, do more housework, do more hobbies, do more charity work, do more Facebook teaching like I do, like my friend Steve Sharma did. So on weekends, you can contribute more to yourself, you can contribute more to your spouse, more to your family, more to society, more to the world. But have a planned day. This was my sample day. I also want you to have 10 books to read and to have in your library. Always have one spiritual book in your library, whether it can be Gita, can be Bible, could be Quran, could be Old Testament, could be Tao Te Ching, could be Buddhist scriptures. Have one scripture. Having all the scriptures will teach you different things from different scriptures. Listen to Wayne Dyer. Read book Alchemist. Alchemist. Read books from Eckhart Tolle. I have all his books. Attend Brandon Butcher's seminar and watch his videos and read his books. Attend and watch and read Tony Robbins. Attend, watch and read Sadhguru. Attend, watch and read Martin Seligman. All those books are very important. There are a lot of other books. I will have it in my next seminar. But having positive books, having books on depression, having books on stress management is very important. Again, I covered today on how to prevent depression, how to prevent relapse of depression. This was 2 hour, 15-minute long seminar. I've given you a lot of techniques, a lot of methods. I do most of it every day. Sometimes I miss it. I'm human. But whenever I've done most of it every day, I always have felt good. I have prevented my second severe bout of depression for 10 years. People who know me now, people who see me, people who I meet, people on Facebook, my family, my spouse, my parents, my brother, my sister, my friends, now tell me they cannot even imagine that 10 years ago I suffered a major bout of depression. And I try to prevent the second bout of depression by doing many of these techniques, what I showed you today. Obviously, there are other things you can do in life. Different people have different methods. Different people learn different things. There are other methods in books, YouTube videos, and there are a lot of other seminars. Your doctor can give you other methods. Your psychologist can give you other methods. Your counselor can give you other methods. But I've given you as many methods as I can. Watch it again and again. Share on your Facebook page. This will be on YouTube. Watch on YouTube video. Take notes. I wish you the best. If you suffer from depression, know that you are not alone. I'm with you. I suffer from depression. Many of your friends probably suffer from depression. Many of your family suffer from depression. A lot of people in the world suffer from depression. Let's work together. Let's support each other. Let's do everything right in our life. Let's be healthy. Let's live long. And let's make this world a better place. Thank you for watching and have a great afternoon. Thank you.